my destiny.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Black Book Podcast. Here today we have S Jae Ali. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good evening, right? Right. Good evening to me, right? Yeah. So, S Jae Ali, let us just start by introducing yourself, telling people where you're from, and whatever else you got.
All right. So my name is S Jae Ali. The S stands for sister. And I am pretty much a jack of all trades. I am a teacher. I am a poet. I am a writer. I'm just all around. Whatever you put in front of me, I'm going to kill it. I am a Chicago girl through and through, Southside Pride. And in Charlotte, and just recently moved back from about a year of teaching and living in China.
Right.
So that's pretty much what I got. I mean, anything else you want to know, you can ask.
Right. So China's kind of, we didn't actually like meet in person, but because of China is how we like know each other.
Gotta love WeChat, right?
Gotta love WeChat, you know, because a group was started for Black people who are from Chicago living in China. So like that's kind of how we got introduced, sort of stuff like that.
Yes.
And then I found out that you had a book and things like that. And so
my baby.
Oh, and you got it with you. All right, you got it with you.
Yeah, right? I go prepare. Listen, you see my shirt? We in here. We are ready, okay?
Oh, you got shirts too.
Yes, my best friend made this shirt to celebrate my book release. And so when I did my intimate book release, because of COVID, I do mean intimate. It was 6 of us there. I wore because my best friend loves me so much. She wasn't even able to come because of COVID. She's in a different state, but she mailed this to like her supporting me because best friends are lit.
Well, wow. So let's just get right into the book. First off, I want to say I ordered the book. Mine is on its way. Don't worry about it. Mine is on the way. Yeah, after you sent me the Barnes & Noble's link, I was just like, oh yeah, I could do that, right? No problem.
I appreciate that so much. Yes, this support is everything. Y'all just don't even understand. And the crazy thing about this book, I've been writing poems since I was 13. After my cousin passed away, I didn't really know how to use words to describe how I was feeling. And I just picked up I was like, write. And I've been writing ever since. Literally, I've never shared my poems. Like, I've never done any type of spoken word or let people read them because these are my babies. Like, this is my soul. And artists, we sensitive about our shit, okay?
You don't share your poems?
So that's the crazy part, right? Like, I did not share my poems. I was in China, and God put it on my heart to write a children's book. So that's actually how this whole book thing started. I wrote a children's poetry picture book, which is still in the works. It's called My Mama Says I'm Gingerbread, and it's just celebrating our Black babies, our brown babies, just all the shades that we are. The illustrations for that, I'm very particular, so that's still in the works. And so when I was done writing that, God was like, okay, now about your poems. And I was like, what about my poems? Like, me and God having a real conversation. He's like, put them out there. It's not. No, we've been doing good for about, 17 years at this point. We don't need nobody to read this. He's like, I gave you this gift and you're going to share it. I was like, but I'm not. Like, what are you talking about? Like, these poems are literally my soul. Like, I feel very naked and exposed with my book out there, right? So it just took me praying, getting my best friend to pray, talking her ear off about the anxiety I feel about letting people who I may or may not know read my stuff, right? And so I was like, okay, God, you would not believe I started putting this book together in April. I just started compiling my poems, putting them together in a way that I wanted them to be read. I proofread myself, edited myself, did everything myself, and self-published. And it was ready for print by the beginning of August. And I just cannot believe all the support. Like, I told my really close friends that I was going to do it, and they were like, go for it. and they helped me start a crowdfunding, which got funded in less than a month. All the money published both my books, and I self-published. So that's like ISBNs and all this other incredible stuff that you would never know unless you were trying to start publishing a book. They helped me. And so from my birthday, which is June 1st to now, here we are. We are here. We are. I can touch it. I can flip through the pages. And when I got my print proof in the mail, which is this, I cried. I just couldn't believe it. Like,
right. So your book is titled Unphased.
Yes, Unphased, Living in My Truth.
Living in My Truth. Okay. So why did you choose this title?
So the way that I spelled unfazed is actually a play on words, and it's kind of a double entendre, right? Like unfazed is how I am, unbothered person. But the way that I spelled it kind of correlates with the phases that are in the book. And each phase is a part of me. So for example, phase 1, gotta go back home, right? It's called Not So Shy City. And each phase, there are a total of 8. They represent a part of my life. Some I'm still living through, some are kind of a mix between the younger me and the current me, and some are just where I see myself, like the vision that I have. So I pay homage to, like, my second phase is called Lost Ones, for my brother, for my grandmother, for people that I've lost, anyone has lost. Society, I have my personal favorite title, phase 4 is called Lessons from a Fuckboy. That is the longest phases in the book because they have taught me a lot. But that lends itself right to the next phase, which is Black Love Matters. That's a fun fact about me. I'm a hopeless romantic. It's really terrible, actually, but love is out there. It's coming.
Yeah, and as a poet, I would assume so. Actually,
yeah, that's like it's just they have this funny phrase that they say about people who write. They say that most poems and books are written about 2 things, love and death. And they're like, how funny that most of those overlap so well. And I'm like, dang, I feel right? Like,
that's kind of true, actually.
And so I have a poem, a phase in here about faith. I just have a phase where I wanted to include these poems, but they didn't really fit into other phases. So it's called an eclectic collection. It's just kind of a free phase. And then my last phase is about adjusting your crown. It's all about Black girl magic, women empowerment, just, you know, all the things that make us beautiful Black people. And Black Love Matters is kind of my love letter of sorts to Black men. So it's not like bashing, but I think it's something here for everybody. Everyone can pick up a book, relate to it, laugh. My best friend actually let her mom read it, and her mom texted her back and was like, wow, this could be a hood Broadway. And that's coming from a mother, right? Like someone who's generation who may or may not get the slang, but her mom was like, this could be a hood Broadway. I thought that was perfect. So I'm using that on my website. So as I update that, I'm definitely using that quote.
And the title, not the title, sorry, the art on the cover, it's is it like a drawing of a Black woman in like the shape of the African continent? Am I with the
Yes, you actually hit it right. Yes, period. I'm all about Black girl magic, Black boy swag, Black excellence. That is my crux of who I am, right? And as a teacher, I just want my kids to be able to see themselves in a wonderful light of like prestige and royalty. So my cover is kind of a mix of the things you said. Also, it includes the Black unity fist, because still we rise. And the woman coming out, the queen, I should say, is coming out on top of everything that's trying to hold her down. And she still is like elevated above it all. And she's carrying the motherland on her back and the Black unity symbol. So that's
that's dope. I like it.
Comes from. Yes, thank you. Everything has a meaning. Okay.
Did you create that yourself?
I came up with the vision for myself. Actually, I went to high school with came up with the vision. So everything that I did was Black. So the lady who came up with my logo is Black. My best friend who created my shirts, the person who put my book cover together. We all about just Black unity. So I wanted to highlight some people who may not usually get that spotlight You know, my spotlight is still growing, but as I come up, hey, let's go. We're all getting on this train together. So that's how I pulled that out.
Yeah, I feel that. I absolutely feel that. All right.
Yes.
So moving back inside the book,
Yes.
everything's a poem. Everything, like, you know, it's basically an
Yes.
entire poem. And,
Yes.
you know, were these poems that you had previously written before, or you wrote them just for the book?
I have been writing these poems throughout, like I said, the different phases of my life. So
Okay.
you will be able to see the differences. Like I said, they're all mixed in because as I write, you know, as a writer, you just write. And when I finally told God, like, okay, Lord, I'll put this book together, I went back through all my journals, right? All my notebooks that I would just scribble stuff in. I went through the notes in my phone and I was like, I'm gonna use this one, this one, this one. And I started compiling it. So depending on what phase you're in, you might get a lot more of the younger S Jae Ali, but it's really well blended, I would say. So you kind of just see it work through. And of course, as I edited my book and proofread it, I changed a couple words here and there, but overall, I didn't have to do much to my book at all, except format how I wanted it to look. It's actually kind of a autobiography / memoir kind of thing. And that's another reason it's so personal to me because everything in here is about my life or how I perceived a situation I was a part of. Nothing is like third-party information. So when you read it, you're like, dang, whoa, what is going on here? Like, yes, this is my life. So it gives you that real raw feel. It gives you that real relatable feel, right? I have friends who are not Black who have supported me. And they're like, dang, I shared this with my boyfriend, or I read this poem was beautiful, or that's deep. Thank you for writing about that. I've gotten all kind of feedback so far. And so it's really just, it gives you that comfort after you kind of let go of what is your baby, right? Like you put it out, you don't know how people are going to receive it. If they're going to read I'm a thinker. I'm like, are they gonna read it in the right tone? Are they gonna use the right, rhythm to the poems? So with that, I'm coming out with an audiobook that is still, but it'll be out soon. I just want the poems to be read to the beat that I write them to. I don't know. That's the writer in me. It has to come out that way. Overall, it's been very positively received. A lot of relatability, I guess, is the word that I would like to use for that. So that makes me feel good.
And how long have you been writing poems? Is it like something you've been doing your entire life? Started in college, high school, as a child?
So actually, I started writing after I lost someone very, very close to me, and I did not get it together. Like I just was, I don't know, I was in the space where I was watching the world kind of come back on its axis. You know, when you're younger, I was 13, you're younger and you just lose a part of yourself and you don't really know how to make sense of it.
Right.
And I started watching the world go back and I was like, but I don't feel like I'm ready to go back. Like, what is this? Trying to maneuver that. And so I just picked up a pen and God was like, write. And I've been literally writing ever since. But it started as a way for me to kind of get my own world back on the axis because losing someone, especially so young, and they're taken in a violent way, it changes you, right? And it's just, I don't know. That's kind of where my poems were born from. And when I started writing poems, then words would just come to me, and I started writing like short stories and flash fiction and anything. Like I would rewrite news articles. If I didn't have anything else to do, I would rewrite them with like the main information and I would put it in my own words. And that's just how so now if I get a thought in my head, words about to start coming. I'm pulling out my phone and I'm going. So
yeah, that's what you should do. Yeah, I'll do that. I do it all the time. Whenever I got a new idea, even if I ain't gonna do it, I just write it down.
Exactly. Yeah. It's important. Like, I think it was Erica Badu. She was like, write stuff down with a real paper and real pen and watch shit get real. It's like, you put it out there. You can't say, oh, I forgot. You can come back in 3 years. It'll still be there because you wrote it down on paper. So that's how I am. And the funny thing about the way I write poems, they just come to me. So like once I start writing, I'm pretty much finished with the poem. I may go back and switch a word or two, but that's kind of how my process goes. Like, I don't have to put it down and come back. Like, no, if it comes, sometimes I just start with the title. Sometimes the title won't come until the end, but the poem is dope. We out there.
Absolutely. So let's move. I'm gonna switch gears real quickly. So
okay,
you moved to China in 2019.
2019. So a year ago, I was in China, living my best life, eating silkworms and climbing mountains, doing all this other stuff, right? Taking bullet trains.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What led you to China?
You want to know something crazy? I have no idea. So I know that it was in my heart just as much as it is to write, it is to teach. And so I've got my bachelor's, my first master's, both in education, working on my second master's in education. And I just really got burnt out in the education system in the US. Like I've been for 3 years at that point, and I love my kids, but the bureaucracy and the this and the that, it's very tiring. So about my second year teaching, I started applying randomly, just shooting in the dark, right? Didn't know what I was doing, applying to go abroad. Didn't have a destination, didn't have like a salary range, nothing. I was just putting stuff out there on these free sites that were like, we place teachers. And I went on a couple interviews, but nothing panned out. And once I started getting a taste of me possibly living abroad, I wanted to do that. So this school year came around and I was just like, God, I want to do this. And so literally, I just said, I want to do this. And I went about my life. And the way that it kind of fell in place, an old coworker put my name out there, unbeknownst to me, put my name out there as someone who she thinks would be amazing teaching abroad. And so that led someone who was a vice principal in South Korea to reach out to me, a Black man who is currently living in South Korea as a principal, assistant principal. And he's just like, invest in yourself. I believe that you should go through this website. I mean, he literally laid it out and I didn't solicit him. He found me, right? And so his advice, I went on that site, and the next day after I paid the fee and put my information out there, they verified my credentials. I had an offer of an interview waiting for me from China. And then all these other interviews started rolling in. And the one from China was just that was like the one that was like my yes. It was like, it felt right, it, came off right. The interview was great. And I signed the contract. I had my mom pray over it. My dad was like, well, my dad told me I could go, and I'm his only girl out of all the boys. I knew that I'm supposed to go here. So that's how I ended up. It literally fell in my lap. So I believe in divine intervention, higher powers, everything. Like God just said, do it. And
was this your first time being abroad like this?
Yes. Okay. I went from Chicago to Charlotte across the Pacific. Like there was no little stop. Oh, you could teach in the Barbados. No, I was new language, new culture, different time zone, everything.
So how did you like feel when you first got there?
I am a risk taker by nature. I don't know, like I just jump into stuff. Like it's very calculated, but I move very quickly. And it's just like, I got there, I was ready. I was pumped. I was excited. I was learning how to eat.
Right.
I like day 3, everything. I don't think it really hit me that, dad, child, you live around the world from your family until the holidays started creeping, right? Like usually when it hits everybody, like the newness is wearing off. You're tired of people staring at you now. At first it was cute. They want to take your picture. Now you looking crazy on the train because the kids just got on your nerves and everybody still want to take your picture. So I think that's when it started hitting me was when the newness wore off and it's like, wow, this is my life. Like I live here. And it just kind of, it was like, Dad, I'm working on Thanksgiving. They don't even acknowledge it as a holiday kind of thing. Like my family sent me,
yeah.
Right, exactly. Like that feeling. Like my family sending me pictures of the table. I was just like, y'all about to get blocked. I'm at work right now. I ate Haagen-Dazs, that little $5 or 35 quad. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
exactly what I'm talking about.
the
That was
little
my
cup
piece
of
of
ice
home.
cream. Yeah.
That was as close to home as I got for Thanksgiving. And I think that's when it really hit me like, you are not in Kansas anymore. Like, man, you really are in a different culture. Like, I found myself learning about the Mid Autumn Festival and going with my TA to different celebrations. You know, I got to meet her family. My school had a very heavy Filipino base of teachers. So I learned about their culture and their food and how they celebrate different. So it was an amazing experience. If it was not for COVID, I would still be in China. I had an offer for Shanghai, but it got postponed and eventually derailed because of COVID. I think the school may have ended up closing altogether, or at least closing like branch. Yeah, it was crazy. So life comes at you fast, right? Like, who would have known a year ago we would be sitting here just like, wow, what a year this has been. So
Okay, so I mean, you just published a book, you wrote it. I mean, you kind of put it together really fast because you already had the material and stuff like that. Was there anything about like you being a bride that was a little bit inspirational or something like that?
Yes, actually, a few of my poems in my phase 8, which is called Adjust Your Crown, a few of them were written about being Black in China. As you know, right? Like, being different in a sea of same is a recipe for all kind of craziness. So a few poems, and they are in there. They talk about skin color, different skin, the days when you just feel like your skin color is a burden, being so, far away, and all these different things. So yes, China definitely inspired quite a few poems. Some did not quite fit. Some I actually wrote after the book was published, so they didn't make it book. But now that I'm kind of versed in self-publishing, there will be more coming. But yeah, China, I think they would deserve a phase of their own. Just craziness. Like, I had a lady walk up to me and literally try to rub my skin off. Like, she walked up to me and was like, and then looked at her hand and looked at me and started smiling. Me and my coworker were like, did this just happen? Like, I mean, she literally walked up off the street, looked at me, looked at my coworker. We're both Black. He's a Black man, and then I'm a Black woman. Looked at us, and then walked up, looked, and was like, and looked at her hand like she expected something to be there. I was like, okay, yeah.
That's pretty funny. I've had
the stories you hear, right? Like, if you have not been there, you'd be like, there's no way that is real. But from being there, like,
I've had some similar stories twice. I mean, I've been in China, I'm in my 4th year being in China.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my first year in China, I was living in Beijing, and I like went out a whole lot, like to the club and everywhere else, living that, I was single at the time. I was living that single life and didn't have a lot of that single expat life, right? Yeah. So remember one, and I had like I used to have this moped. I used to ride my moped everywhere, to work, to the club, everywhere. It didn't matter. After I bought my moped, you could never see me on the train or no bus, taking no DDs, taking no taxis, anything like that. Like, I was always on my bike. But one time I ran out of like the batteries of my bike ran out of power. So I was like, and like my house is like maybe like a 30-minute walk away. I was just like, I'm just gonna push my bike all the way to my house. And on my way there was like, how they they have like the street cleaners and stuff like that in the orange jumpsuits. This dude, he walked up to me, right, and he spoke English, and he said, I love Black people. He said it really loud and hugged me. And he hugged me, and then he ran off. No lie. I cannot make this shit up.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, these stories, they happen because you've experienced them. But you have to preface that for other people. Like, no, I can't make this up. Like, this really happened. I definitely feel.
It was pretty funny, right? And like, I tried to tell people what happened. Nobody believed me.
Oh
until it happened again to me with my friends there at a McDonald's. A homeless dude walked up to me and hugged me and like just ran off. He didn't say anything. No, seriously. Now that it hasn't happened to me again.
I'm laughing because I know that you're telling the truth. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of Two Faces. I forgot the name of it. It's like I'm gonna destroy it, so I'm not gonna try to say it. But it's called Two Faces, and they're two stone faces right outside of Zhengzhou, in the Henan live. And we climbing. We get to the very top, and my white coworkers go, the Filipino coworkers go, fine. My black male coworker goes, fine. I come up last because I'm taking pictures. This girl, like, she could not have been more than 7 or 8, looks at me, looks at her mother, and starts screaming like I am killing her. And I just froze. I had been in China for maybe a week and a half at this point. Working, like, sightseeing, so the older coworkers are taking us new coworkers out, and she's screaming. I mean, like, screaming. So of course people are looking, and I'm just standing there, like, I do my hands like this, like I didn't do anything to her. So my black coworker comes up, and he looks at the little girl, and he just starts screaming back, and I was like, what? Twilight Zone, man. Like, what is going on around here? Like, it was, I'm telling you, like you said, there are so many stories, right? And you have to tell people, like, no, that really happened. I've had kids look at me and start crying. I've had kids look at me and, like, want to hug me, want to give me toys, want to take pictures with me. I mean, if you name it, I've probably been through it. And I just, yeah. World, like, oh my goodness. But that little girl, I will never forget her, because I was just like, I knew I was going to jail or something. Like, why is this little girl screaming? What did she do to her? Like, it was terrible. It was bad.
That's pretty funny. But I want to go back. I want to go back and ask you about. Would you please walk us through, if, let's say, if I wanted to be a self-published author like you, how would I go about that?
Okay, so it's actually a lot easier than you think. But when I say it's not easy, right? It's easier than you may think. You may think, oh, I have to do this and that. But I think that a lot of major publishers are starting to see people want to get their stories out there. So I went through Barnes and Noble for the simple fact that I wanted my book to have a hardcover. You could definitely do Amazon, but they only offer paperback at this moment, and that's just not the vision I have for my book. Right. So the main things I would say, make sure that you are sure you want to invest in this process, because being a self-publisher, that's exactly what you are. Like, everything is on you. Make sure that if you're not good at editing, make sure you have at least 3 or 4 people ready to edit and proofread. Make sure that you're ready for their feedback. I did that myself because I am a writer. I'm a teacher as well. So, you know,
it's easy for you to do that type of work.
But also, I'm very close to my poems, and at that point, I wasn't ready for people to read them. So I did that part myself. But I recommend, if you don't have people that you really trust, definitely pay someone to do it. I recommend, if you know, like, retired principals, retired teachers, things like that. Right. Register for an ISBN, just because you know for a fact that you own that yourself. You can take your ISBN to any other company. So if I leave Barnes & Noble today, my ISBN is mine. I can go to Amazon or whoever else. But if you purchase through one of those type of companies, when you print through them, they own your ISBN. So you would still have to end up purchasing one yourself if you go elsewhere. Right. Which is, but that's something that you have to prepare for cost-wise, because it costs like $125 for one ISBN. You can buy bundles of 10. If you're planning, like I am, to write 2 books and then do different formats, I definitely recommend buying the bundle, because you need a different ISBN number for hardcover versus paperback versus audiobook. Any format needs its own ISBN number. And then make sure that you kind of have a vision for what you want your cover to look like, because that's your introduction, right? So I've had so many people say, oh my God, I love the color of your book, because it's orange, it's popping, right? Like, it's something that's gonna catch your eye. if it's on the shelf and someone sees the orange spine, they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. They see this unique, funky font that I have going on. That makes them more inclined. So, you know, you have to put a budget together to kind of make sure you have those funds available to bring your vision to life the way you want it. Definitely don't cut corners, right? I'm going to share the advice that the man who got me to teach in China shared with me. Invest in yourself. And the way I did that, my friends rallied around me and convinced me to do a crowd fund. So I did a GoFundMe. And people who are just like, I believe in you. I know you're so dope at this. I want to see this. I want to buy the book. They were pouring in $5, $10 donations. People poured in $100. You know, just you put it out there. People, if you believe in it, then they'll believe in it for you. And then my last piece of advice is don't worry about who supports you. Like, that is a big thing. I have people like you, right? You're all the way in China. We've never met in person, and you've ordered my book. I have literal immediate family members who have not donated a dime, who have not said congratulations, who have not purchased the book. And you know, if that's the kind of thing that will hurt you, you have to prepare for that. And you think, oh no, my mom, my dad, my brother. No, those will be the people, right? Who don't support you, your cousins, your day ones. They won't even acknowledge that you have done something great. And so piece of advice is like, don't stop. There are people who have never met you before that believe in you, that will support you, that are excited for you, that look up to you. I've had people who are only friends on Instagram like, I have my company order this book and we're gonna do a talk. Now, you know, race in America is the big thing. So they saw my, and they were shocked that it's about poems and written by a Black author or a Black poet. So they're ordering it just off that. So, you know, like there's an avenue and a market for everyone. Don't get caught in the pool of people who are closest to you, because when you start branching out, you know.
That's true. Cause like,
it's crazy.
Like, you know, I got a podcast and like, you know, same thing you're talking about, friends and family and people who are close to you. I mean, of course, like those people who are like really close, like my mom, like they're reading, they're listening, but like other people who see me posting every day about my podcast on my social media, ain't liking it, ain't sharing it, ain't saying, hey, that's what's up. But you know, like, but I'm unbothered by that shit, you know what I'm saying? But
exactly,
I like what you're saying. Because like there is still a market outside of the people that you know who don't fucking know who you are that's listening. Because like I have to show like I have to pull this up really quickly. Like I have people from all over the world listening to this podcast. I don't know who they are. Like people from Finland, people from South Africa. I don't know anyone personally from South Africa, but But you know that's just who it is. Somebody from the Philippines is listening from my show, listening to my show. You know, it's just like it's crazy because I don't know anyone from the Philippines. You know,
right? You know? It's crazy. I mean, the response that I've gotten from people who don't know me, like you said, you have to realize there is a whole world out there, literally. I've been blessed to be able to reach out and touch it. I have plans for more, but COVID, I was supposed to be at the Olympics. I woke up so sad the day the Olympics was supposed to start, but you know, life is what it is. You just have to really dig deep, know who and whose you are. Like I believe in God, I believe in Jesus. So I know that whatever happens, they got me. I know that myself, I know that I have to talk myself up sometimes because it hurts when you see like the names of people who have donated and contributed and done this, and you don't see those names you're looking for. Like that kind of throws your mind off, and you have to kind of give yourself that space to feel hurt, but not quit. You know what I mean? Because like if you quit based on people who you know and don't support you, you will never get anywhere. Like I have people who used to be on my phone all the time, and then I announced I was moving to China. Mind you, this is a year ago at this point. I have not heard from them since. Have not heard from them. I've seen them in passing, have not anything. And it's just like, it brings out the best and the worst in people. And that's something that you have to learn to not take personally. Like, I didn't do nothing to you. I'm just living my life. I'm reaching out with these opportunities. I'm going ahead. I'm scared, right? I'm doing this scared. I'm doing this knowing that it could blow up in my face, but I'm doing it. Like, I'm not gonna, well, it might not work. Okay, well, it also might. you know?
Right,
So
right.
that's just how I go. I believe my motto is feel the fear and do it anyway. Go out there and do it scared. So that's what's guiding me to take these risks. That and prayer, right? Don't just go out there doing dumb stuff. Like we're a little too anything. But just, know what it is you want, be willing to learn more about it. After I published my book, I learned so much more about publishing, right?
Right.
Because that's something that I've learned is very interesting. You learn all kind of things. Fun fact, once you write something, it's technically copywritten. The copyright that you pay for, which I encourage everyone to do, just because if you put yourself out there, you want to be protected. But the copyright that you pay for through the patent and government, that's just to protect you in a court of law. So like you have something to stand on saying, no, this is mine. I paid for it. I filed it, this, that, and the third. But once you put something down and you have like put your pen on it, I encourage you to put a date on it. And that also serves as a copyright. Because anything that comes after it, they can say you pulled this from the original. So those like little tidbits that it's better to, as they say, cover your ass, right? CYA, and just spend those extra dollars to do something that you don't have to undo later. That could cost 20 times more, getting a lawyer and going to court and doing all this stuff. My last big thing for me would be to just market naturally, right? Like I feel like you will know if it's your lane by the way things come to you. So you put work in and then you just watch the universe open up to you, right? Like for instance, you reached out to me about the podcast, like I would love to have you. My friend, who we're just friends through school, so like we're email buddies because we go to school online.
Right.
She was someone from a college who would like me to do a virtual book talk. Just, those kind of avenues open up. You don't have to make sure, oh, I have to be at this event. I have to speak at this place. You tire yourself out that way. Yeah. And then it's like your wheels, you're getting frustrated. Nothing's popping off for you. Just be natural. I have a website. I invested enough. I encourage anyone who's trying to do any kind of thing to invest in a website. I built it through Wix and then I bought my own domain. I have a couple business cards in case, I meet someone. I just want to share that in passing, but I just do everything organically. If I don't feel like posting that day, I'm not going to force it. It will come. I don't have to saturate the market. Like, there are times when your absence is missed. You come back like, oh, I was wondering when you're going to drop something new, So just be authentic, be yourself, but you have to put that work in. Like, I've been up quite a few 3 a.m.s writing notes down and going back and returning stuff like, oh, I don't need that, reading reviews about the best microphones for an audiobook. Like, you got to put that energy out there. But when
I know that because when I was first getting the podcast together, I spent a lot of times up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., just like choosing the best format and everything like that. Just making sure, like listening and re-listening to interviews and making sure that like everything's cut the right way so that when people listen to it, it sounds like it's in a good quality and stuff like that. Now that I've like learned how to do that, whenever I like release an interview, now my people who usually get interviewed like, oh, that was fast. Like, yeah, because I learned before I started like releasing a bunch of
listen. And with you, what you just said, I feel like we need to market that. I need people to understand you're not always paying for my time. You're paying for what it took for me to get here. You see what I'm saying? Like you're not paying for, oh, that was a 10-minute thing. No, you're paying for those months and years that I was back there researching, shooting in the gym to make this happen in 10 minutes. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not all time that you see. It's about time that I put in. You're gonna pay me what I'm worth. So what you just said, that's it. That's the one, right? Ain't that what the young people say? That's it. That's the one.
Yeah. But I want to ask you something else. I got this question. Dude, I just had it in my head. Hold up.
No, you're fine. No worries.
Don't worry. I'll edit this part out. They won't hear it. I mean, so okay, all right. So I think you probably already answered it, but I'm gonna ask it again. Like the whole process that you did, like, is there anything that you didn't know about in terms of from the beginning of you thinking about writing a book until you can go buy my book at Barnes and Nobles. Like, if there was like a couple of things you can speak about that you didn't know about that now that like everybody probably should know about.
To be honest, I wasn't even trying to write a book. Okay, like this, like I was going. Me and my notebooks and journals are doing just fine.
Right.
Like what I mean about being aligned to your purpose, like when you are, the things literally just kind of fall in place. You discover those breadcrumbs along the trail. So from getting this dropped in my spirit to now, which was literally like a 3-month process, there were a lot of things I learned, right? I learned about different websites. People would just say, oh, you should use Fiverr for this, or I know this person, or, doing your own kind of research. I learned about, like I said, I think the coolest thing for me was learning that your work is copywritten as soon as you write it. I thought that was super cool. But I still went ahead and filed my own thing because in case somebody try to act crazy, on page 38, I said, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
right.
That's me. Run me my money. I just think that falling in love with the process kind of opened my mind for all the information that I absorbed to kind of come naturally. So when I was up doing my Google review research, that's the way we research these days, I just learned about the step by step. In my head, I was thinking, how am I going to find a self-publisher? What does that even mean? You hear all these horror stories about how you have to do this to market and you have to do this, and you don't have to do any of that, to be completely honest. I think that's a needs to be debunked, because that was another thing on top of sharing my poem that gave me a lot of anxiety. It's like, where do you start trying to publish a book? I have words, I have a thought, and I see a book at the end of it. How do I tie this all together?
Right.
So my first thing that I would say is make sure that you seek out 1 or 2 groups that you, I love Facebook, I love Instagram, because they have those little caveats. Hashtags are real for a reason. Like you put them, it opens up to you, right? Like you get, this group and that group, and people drop little nuggets along the way. I would just say give yourself grace as you, there are going to be a lot of things you have to undo, right? Like I tried to patent my, or trademark my logo first, but it doesn't work that way. Like you have to put things out there in the universe before they allow you to patent it. They do what's called an in-use trademark. And so you have to actually use the logo before you can trademark it, which most people don't know. I didn't know that. So just learn breadcrumbs. I had to put that application on hold because you're thinking, okay, first I do this, and then I do that. And then then you first do this, then you go back about 10 days later and undo it because that was wrong. It's just like, it's a very circular process.
Something you just learn as you're doing it, right? Like
exactly, you learn as you're doing it, and then you see that the steps don't have to go in order. You can already have steps 1 through 4 done, but the next thing on your list may be step 9 on that checklist that that they put out for self-publishing. So I just think, like, follow the breadcrumbs wherever they go. Don't be so committed to following this in this way. And also, every step isn't for everybody. I found this awesome website called Self-Publishing School, and they have so many click off, drop down bars, and I just needed that little checklist. Like all I needed was that one little thing, and I didn't even use all those bullet points. So just going from the thoughts in my head, the thoughts on paper, to thoughts in a book, is very simple as long as you remember, breathe. That's my advice to everyone. Just breathe. Because it will really come. It will come. There will be trial and errors. I had to redo my logo a couple times. Everyone I worked with was very professional, I can get this done by then. Oh, no worries. We can change that. I'll throw this in because you've been such a great, person to work with. So building relationships. Like, I'm the poet. I am not the artist. I am not the logo designer. I am not the book cover maker. So building those relationships with people, reading reviews on people, and genuinely using word of mouth to get those jobs you need done, make your life so much easier.
Right. I understand that for sure.
Yeah,
I want to ask you,
Like, I heard that you make logos. I have an idea. How much do you charge? And that's another thing. Don't be afraid to pay for stuff that's good. Don't be afraid to spend $150. It sounds a lot for a cover for a logo, but look at my book. Like, I didn't have to go to anybody to fix this. I gave her my vision. She came with my vision. The person who put my book cover together transfer the file right here. I didn't have to say, okay, now person number 3, I paid them $35 and this is what they gave me. Like, no, be willing to do that investment part. And that will also save you a lot of time because you don't have to undo stuff or redo it or find somebody else. You don't have to do all that.
I'm going to ask you, can we possibly get a taste of the book? Maybe just like a couple of lines? You want me to
read a poem or something? I guess I could read a poem or something. Let me see. Okay. Look, you put me on the spot. I was not prepared. Okay. So I can give you a poem or something, I guess. I will pull from, I guess I'll do 2. I'll give you one from Black Love Matters, you know, my hopeless romantic side. And I will also give you one from Adjust Your Crown, which is my Black girl magic side, okay?
Okay.
So let me see. Now you done made me go in the vault. You done put me on the spot, child. All right. So I think that lesson from a fuckboy just popped up. I don't know why that was just so funny. So I can give you genres. So this one, I'll just read it. So the title of it is Genres. You are my favorite book on the shelf. I handle it with the utmost care. I turn the pages, trace the words, and follow the sentence with my eyes as I read the story they come together to tell. God wrote you. Placed every punctuation mark, edited every enjambment, and scribed every story. Your chapters are my treasure. Curiosity, enthralled, and appreciation captivates my focus. I enjoy every scribble, attentive, transfixed. Like the prose is unfolding. Pace myself not to rush ahead because patience produces longevity. Savoring insatiably a flawless integration of genres. 1 part drama, 3 parts action with a dollop of romance and a dash of poetry. All nonfiction. You are the perfect plot twist. The best is yet unwritten.
Woo! Okay. Okay,
so that was one of my little Black Love Matters ones. I don't know, my inspiration just comes. I was reading a book one day and I could write a poem about someone, a love poem about genres, and it just came. I have no idea. So then the next one I will read will come from phase 8. You really put me on the spot, but that's okay. You gotta stay prepared, then you ain't gotta get ready. So I'm going to read this one called, so this one is called Fashion Week. And I wrote this with the whole round the way girl turned international exposure vibe in mind.
Okay.
The sway of sex appeal in stilettos, sachet and a swivel, round the way girl courtesy of the ghetto, sass in her stride, the heel of confidence, sultry and seductive, turning heads and catching eyes, purpose in each step, practiced and perfected, personified and crafted, a signature statement in the making, shaped and molded to peekaboo curves, providence and poise in her midst, tailored to her temptress, embracing her persona, embodying elegance, applauding her heritage, nonverbal introduction to both allure and womanhood, and the exclamation to soulful sophistication, unconventional, unequivocal, unforgettable, unbothered, identity defining, captivating, mesmerizing, above the madness of the crowd, 6 full inches off the ground.
Okay. I understand that one. Okay. All right. That's pretty good. I mean, not pretty good. That's really good. That's really good.
No,
I shouldn't say that's pretty good. That's really good. But I don't want to take too much more of your time. I do want to ask you, what is next for S Jae Ali?
Oh my goodness. So right now I am in the works. Like I said, I wrote a children's picture poetry book. I I can actually give you a sample of that. It's called My Mama Says I'm Gingerbread. And so this was written, like I said, to celebrate. I wrote it in China because when I was there, I just missed my Black and brown baby so much. So we got a whole book out of it. So that's currently in the works. The illustrations are very time consuming because I want my babies to look at it and be like, that's me, that's me. And so I'm very particular. I'm going over all of that with a fine tooth comb and just waiting on that to be published. I'm still on the fence if I want to self-publish that or if I want to try to go through a self-publishing company, a self-publishing field of an established company. But in the meantime, I'm still writing. I don't know if I'm going to do another poetry book just yet. I'm also focused on recording my audiobook for Unphased, just so you can get the beat of everything. Okay. And in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the magic of it all, because there's something about touching a book that you know you wrote, the feeling, like even when I pulled this out this morning to share with you, I just smiled so much because like that's my book. Like I'm touching it, people are flipping the pages, I'm seeing it on social media. It's crazy. So I'm gonna give you guys a little sneak peek of my children's book. It's called My Mama Says I'm Gingerbread. And I dedicated this book to every jewel I've ever taught, hugged, and loved. May you see yourself in all the pages of this book and remember your excellence. And to Ed, Tony, and Barb, because of you, I am. My mama says I'm gingerbread, brown as can be. Family and friends, all an endless sea of skin. There are so many shades of me. Mocha, coca, honey, molasses, sugary sweetness, brownness, blackness. Red dirt, yellow sun, beautiful black, vast as a midnight sky. So many ways to mix, twist, and twirl, all the shades and hues that make up my pretty brown world. 3 color combinations, an endless assortment of pigments, apricot, beige, peach, clay. We are quite the colorful array. Skinfolk, kinfolk, gather close for good times. Oatmeal, yam, macadamia. My whole world's awash in a maze of brown skin, hair, and eyes.
Okay.
Little taster, the book will be out sooner rather than later. That's just in the back. So like you can do the lesson plans at home. You can do them in your classroom from kindergarten all the way up to 6th grade. I got some fun facts about the motherland in there. And then also people you should know. So everyone from Muhammad Ali and Diddy to Bessie Coleman, Barack and Michelle. They all back there jamming in the back of my book as people you should know. Langston Hughes and Simone Biles, just throwing a couple names out there that are highlighted in the back of the book. So it's not just a poetry book, it's also informational. And the vision that I have is that our little people will see themselves and be proud of who they are. Because that's
very good. All right. And where just so people can keep up with you,
yes.
Can you give us like your website, your social media, anything that people can follow you on?
Oh, of course. Okay, so my website is www.sjalispeaks. It's SJAE Ali, like Muhammad Ali, speaks.com. And then my Instagram is OOH period, she's spitting. So OOH period, SHE period.
Ooh, she's spitting. Okay, I like that.
TTIN. And you can also follow me on Facebook at S Jae Ali.
Okay. I likes that. Ooh, she's spitting.
Thank you. Ooh, she's spitting.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Right.
I try, whatever.
Before we end, I always give my guests the last word. So it can be anything you want to say. I'll give you the floor right now.
The one thing I want to say is just believe in yourself and everything else will follow. We are excellence, nothing less, and everything we do is for the culture. Black girl magic, black boy swag. We coming for y'all. We coming for everything, period.
All right, cool. Straight to the point. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, guys. Well, remember, I'm Eric Charles. This is S Jae Ali, and that's the Black Book Podcast. I'm just on a mission. I'm trying to live my dreams.